Hi, I'm Heather from Booktubes, and today are things I hate. The plan is that this is going to be light and nothing too overly serious, and it's just kind of things in books and the bookish community that maybe strike a nerve, and for me personally, and we'll just see where it goes. So this is a fun rant style video. Nothing is to be taken too offensively. If I offend you, feel free to argue with me in the comments. It's all good. So yeah. My very first one is reader elitism. And I have a whole theory about this, and I want to know if you think that my theory is right. So I am going to go with a stereotype or a cliche, if you will, whichever one you want to use for this specific thing, of the quiet, bookish, nerdy child. A lot of times they have glasses. I didn't. I don't think that having glasses makes you smarter. I don't think that having glasses means that you're not good at sports. It's a whole nother side topic. I think that the glasses means that you're a smart, bookish person is not a fact. but you know, whatever. Okay, so you have this kid, right, who is quiet and nerdy and a reader. Great, fantastic. But a lot of times that is not popular amongst other children specifically. And so I think that being told readers are leaders, reading is good, reading makes you smarter, reading exercises your brain, reading takes you into another world, yada, 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 plus the reality of that experience of escaping through reading makes young readers specifically take value out of the fact that they are a reader, because maybe they're not popular, maybe they don't have a lot of friends, but they're a reader and they're smart, and that's valuable, and reading is valuable, and reading becomes part of their self-worth and a part of their image and a part of what they see when they view themselves as somebody that is worthwhile. And then that can build on itself and escalate. So I think that this is where you get the gatekeepers of genres specifically, or even the young adult versus adult readers, or middle grade versus adult readers, where it's like, well, ours is better because it's a higher reading level. So I must be smarter because I read adult literature versus something written for actual children. And that's not true though. The type of books you read doesn't reflect your intelligence. Some people just want something light and easy and funny, something that doesn't really engage their brain. Maybe they have a job that takes a ridiculous amount of mental power, of mental exercises all day long. Maybe their job is their smart thing, and reading is their relaxing thing. Maybe not. You know, maybe their job is tic-tac-toe. I don't know. And they still just like middle grade books. So freaking what? So what? What does it matter? The fact that somebody is reading for books for a younger audience, or somebody is reading romance, or somebody is reading the fantasy that's maybe not as complex, that doesn't take 9 pages to explain the single part of the world or of the magic system, that doesn't mean that the author was less intelligent. It doesn't mean that the reader is less intelligent. It just means that is the style that they prefer. That's what they enjoy. That's all that means. But we go back to the little kid taking their worth as being a reader, and then you build on it. So then this often be a problem with ableism, because I know I did this when I was a late teen, is when I met my husband. And my husband is dyslexic and he cannot spell anything. And we texted a lot. We kind of had a little bit of a long distance relationship. For a while there, we saw each other about once a week, and then there was a summer between high school and college for me where we didn't see each other. And so we texted a lot. And my husband can't spell. And we had been texting for a couple months or something, and I was just so annoyed. and so done with all of his misspellings. And I was just like, to me, this is my brain, this is the way I was thinking, because it was how I learned. I was like, you can see how I'm spelling the word to you, just copy what I did. Not understanding that that's not how that works. And so he said something, and I was just like, you know, like, that's not how it's spelled. And like, you need to spell it the right way. I was a pretentious little insert word of your choice here. But, and he was like, you know, I'm dyslexic, right? And then I felt like crap, as I should, because I was just like, assuming that it was laziness, you know, that prevented him from copying my correct spelling of the word and putting it in his text. And it's not. It's a learning disability. It's an entire different process. But I never even stopped to question, hey, maybe there's a good reason for this. I was just like, you're dumb and uneducated and lazy. That's a terrible thing to think about somebody. But I think that that is something that we truly can internalize as young readers, again, specifically being during our formative years when we are maybe not popular, when puberty has so many problems for all of us. And a lot of times it's just the hardest part of life is those years. And it truly is a thing of maturity to not put other people down in order to feel better about yourself. And it feels like a lot of adults in the bookish community have never quite moved past that, because they really feel like how many books they read, what type of book they read, what reading level the book is, what format they read the book in, whether they've read this super dense series 5 times or not, or if you didn't think the book was good, that's because you're not smart enough to understand what the book was talking about. There's lots of different ways that we as adult readers in the community as a whole put each other down in order to feel better about ourselves. And it's just elitism. It's just dumb. You're being harmful and hurtful for no reason. It doesn't make you better or smarter. It doesn't make your reviews more interesting. It does nothing. It's bad. It's a bad take. I say this as somebody who is a really fast reader, a really good reader, who has been reading for 26 years. I read freaking fast. I do. I read romance. I read a lot of really short romance, so I read a ridiculous amount of books. I read for fun. It is genuinely fun for me. Also, I don't do audiobooks, not because I have anything against audiobooks or think that they are lesser, but because the amount of kids that I have and the ages that they are is incredibly hard for me to listen to an audiobook and listen to the story and not get really frustrated with my children for talking. Or I am focused on the story and then I can't hear my children talking and it creates a problem. So either I'm irritated with them or I'm neglecting them, and either one is not great. So I basically tried it out a couple of times, decided, hey, this is not working. I don't really see a way to fix this to make it work. And so I just don't listen to audiobooks. I have literally nothing against anybody else listening to audiobooks, but I don't do it. So all the books that I read. Now I tend to read electronically because, again, I have small children, and so having books in physical format makes it just harder to get through the book. It's a lot easier on my Kindle or on my phone, and that also, for me, because I read a ton of indie romance, makes getting the books much more affordable, because I cannot afford to buy all the books that I read. That is just a fact of life. And that is okay. I find, and there's so many different arguments. I don't believe in pirating books. I think that the majority of people that do it have other options. Understand the argument for international readers who don't have access to a library system and or also can't afford to buy every book that they read. I totally understand that is an argument that I truly don't know all the facts for, but I think the majority of people who pirate books probably live in a first world country and could in fact get their book another way easily. That's just my opinion though. I don't have any stats on that. That's just, I think that a lot of times we're like, pirating is bad. Well, what about the people who can't get books any other way? Okay, but are they really the problem? That's my question. And then you have the people who don't understand how libraries work. Libraries don't steal sales from authors. Authors get paid for books that are checked out from the library. And your library gets funding by you using your library. So all in all, that's a great thing to do for the author and for the library and for the community as a whole, because what you put into your library gives back to your local community. By the way, this is not a rant, this is just a side thing. I'm a procrastinator and I procrastinate a lot, and I'm not really the greatest at getting my books back to the library on time. This is just a suggestion for you. This is something that I do. When I have a fine from the library, I always round it up. So I'll either give a couple of dollars instead of my 70-cent fine, or I'll just round it up to a $5 bill or a $10 bill, depending on my financial state, depending on what I have in my purse, and depending on how much the fine was. But I was just trying to round up my fines. It helps. That's why the library has fines. It's not so much to make you return your book. It's to help. It's funding. And, you know, if my fine is $3.70, I'm going to round it up to $5. And if we all did that, think of how much more money that would be for libraries. So that's just an idea. It's just something that I do. I think it's a good thing to do. Moving right along, I kind of hate this part, and you see it a lot with big creators, and it's because of the comments on their videos. But having to be like, every single video, the disclaimer of, if I don't like your favorite book, it's still okay for you to like your book. That doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It's just my opinion. I'm not trying to offend you. I don't hate you if I don't like your book. It's so annoying to have to listen to it, and yet people have to say it all the time because people take any criticism of a book that they like as an attack on them as a person, on their intellect, on their taste, on their values, on their experience. And it's just like, no, it's literally just I didn't love this one book. I wish people weren't so dumb, but that's never gonna happen, so there's that. This is my own personal little side tangent. I think that redheads are dramatically overrepresented in romance. Obviously, this is more specifically white romance, but it's like this series will have a redhead main character, a blonde, and a brunette. A redhead, a blonde, and a brunette. A redhead, a blonde, and a brunette. And it's like, redheads don't make up 30% of Earth's population. They make up like 1%. Now, I do give grace to any book set in the UK or Ireland or Scotland. Are they part of the UK? I don't know. It's been a long time. It's fine. It's fine. America. We know everything. Because most redheads in the world do live in that area. But I don't know. I have a weird annoyance about how many heroines, the heroine of the story, are natural red hair beauties. I'm just like, but that's not realistic. And also, do you know this, that like the men never have red hair? It's always just the female, because that's more attractive. Understand? Well, I don't understand. I don't know what it's like to be an author. And I also don't know what it's like to be a person of color, period. But I just feel like, more people could be doing the work to have their brunette and their blonde, and they're not just straight up white person. Maybe even just not a straight white person. Does that not seem more realistic? Then instead of having a redhead in every freaking series, we have somebody who's not white and not straight And like, you don't have to do a whole deep dive into their identity and their culture if you are not own voices. But I just don't think it's that hard. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I just don't think it's that hard to have some nuances in your series, because you're writing a series about multiple different people. It makes sense that they wouldn't all be the same. I don't know. That's just something that has always annoyed me. Now, I will say, obviously, if you read diversely, this problem comes up less, but it still annoys me. Okay, here's another side tangent on that. The majority of diversity reads still have a white love interest. So much of it is a woman of any culture or race or ethnicity, and they're in love with a white man. I find that odd, truthfully. Now, I love my white man husband. I love him. I feel like it's just weird that they're like held as the fantasy ultimate male hero for the romance genre as a whole. Obviously, this is not something that is represented in every book, and if you read, obviously there's a ton of black love, there's a ton of intercultural relationships where neither protagonist is white, but they don't come from the same people or community. And obviously, I'm gonna sneeze, gazoot type. Obviously, you can find a ton of books where, you know, both the main character and the love interest are Filipino or Chinese or Scottish or Canadian. Like, there are many, many different things, right? But I just find it as a trend as a whole that the hero tends to be a white guy. And then going off of that, with our all the time hero, why does he always have to have a six-pack? I am not kidding you when I say that this just annoys me. It annoys me. It makes me feel like we're shallow and like people don't think that women can want anything other than somebody with abs, lickable abs. Why? Why do we always have, and I realize it's not always, again, I understand there are exceptions. Yes, I've read some of the exceptions. Yes, I've loved some of the exceptions. But the whole point is, like, your stereotypical romance hero is going to be tall, he's going to be white, he's going to have six-pack abs, he's going to have blue eyes, black hair. I find it very annoying that we preach so much about accepting your body and loving your body and not caring what size you are, and then we make all of our heroes the same size. Make all of our heroes look the same. Women are smarter than that. There's more to a man than his abs, and it deeply annoys me to the point where I will skip over the ab description because I'm just like, oh, not another one. Not another one. I don't know. It annoys me. It just annoys me that it's always the thing. I just think if we have plus size heroines, then we should have plus size heroes. And that they should be loved for who they are, and they can be loved by many different types of women with many different looks for themselves. I just feel like body dysmorphia and the mental health of men in general is often ignored and brushed aside like it doesn't exist. And men also need to know that women can love them without the abs, and that treating women like a decent human being and being a good guy and being considerate and being kind and caring and thoughtful and listening and just not being an idiot all the time is more important than how many abs you have. And I'm pretty sure that the entire frat boy douchebag trope points that out, right? They often are college athletes with really good bodies, and they are garbage human beings. So can we evolve from this? I don't know. it annoys me. Take from that what you will. Do you disagree? You're like, no, this is my fantasy. I want all the abs. I want the 19-inch. And then I guess lastly, why can we not have realistic miscommunication? If we're gonna have the miscommunication trope, why can't it be realistic? I'm sorry, but when was the last time that you and your romantic partner, whether you were at the dating stage or had been together for 25 years, when was the last time you all had a fight, you had a miscommunication, and you broke up for 3 months? Or you broke up and then got kidnapped. I mean, or not even broke up. You had a fight, you walked out, you got kidnapped. Why can it not be a realistic miscommunication? Why can it not be, look, why are you freezing me out? I'm freezing you out because you hurt my feelings. Well, how did I hurt your feelings? Because you said this. And then they can be like, one, that's not what I meant. Or two, like, I'm sorry. Why do you have to break up for 3 months? And why can't we have more than one miscommunication throughout the book? But like it takes a minute. It's called conversations. I only think that a sign of a good author is somebody who can write compelling conversations on the page. Because that is a skill. That is something that is hard to do. The amount of cop-out conversations where it's like, oh, I'm so mad at him, but he's so hot, I can't resist. No! Make that man talk to you! Like, no! I don't want to kiss you! You were an idiot! You were a self-centered jerk who did not stop and consider how his words would be taken. No! I'm not having sex with you! Till we talk! Why? Yeah, I don't know. Basically, I like when the romance specifically takes the time to work through issues in a realistic way and in a way that might be able to help your real life relationship. I love that. I love seeing couples with healthy communication, couples who I'm like, wow, like I want my marriage to be like that. I want to do what I can to improve what I am doing so that we have a better relationship. Because even though we have a good relationship, this was something that was an idea or that, made me think about what I'm doing or what I'm saying or how I'm saying it. I love romances like that. I don't like getting super in my feelings with it. Like, I don't like the sad or the heartbreak or the hundreds of pages of difficulties. But I do like when there's healthy communication. And a lot of times healthy communication stems from a miscommunication. But I don't think that you cannot talk to somebody at all and have that be your miscommunication trope and then have a happily ever after, because you can't live with somebody and not talk to them, and not explain things, and not talk about your problems. And especially depending on each other's personalities, like I need to know what is happening. I need to talk it out. I have trouble just getting over it on my own. Like I don't stay mad. I really don't. That's another thing, the reason why I feel like the breakup, third act breakup particularly, really annoys me in books, because that's not how I work. I will get mad, and if you talk to me about it, I can be over it in 5 minutes. Like I don't stay mad. I either talk to you about it, or I go and clean, or I go and read, and then I come back and we're fine. But usually that fine includes a sorry, or that's not what I meant, or you're right, I'll try and fix that, or I'll try and work on that. Or me being like, look, I know I didn't have a right to get mad about that. I know I shouldn't have treated you that way. I know that I blew it out of proportion, and I'm sorry. That's a relationship. It's not always going to be his fault, and it's not always going to be my fault, because it's a real healthy relationship. right? We're not talking about an abuser situation. We're talking about a good relationship. Not everything is ever going to be one person's fault. There's going to be lots of times where you're both going to have to apologize, but you can't not talk to each other for a week. You can maybe do that for one night, for 1 hour, for one work shift, whatever. You're not going to be able to do that for a week without causing real harm. And I just wish that were better represented in romance novels. And there are some that it is, for sure my favorites, have great communication. But yeah, it just annoys me. I wish that we would evolve past it in the genre. So, I don't know how much of that made sense or how much of that I'll have to edit out or whatnot, but I hope you enjoyed, and let me know your bookish community and book and all the things pet peeves. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.